Morning came quietly. Soft sunlight filtered through the half-drawn curtains, casting pale gold across the luxurious bedroom. Outside, the city had already awakened, but inside room 1810, time seemed suspended, frozen, in the aftermath of a night that had shattered more than one fate. Lucas Knight stirred. A dull ache pulsed behind his temples, slow and heavy. His eyelids fluttered open, vision blurred, his mind still tangled in lingering drowsiness and the fading remnants of the drug in his system. Warmth. He felt warmth beside him, his brows knitted faintly, unease creeping in before awareness fully followed. Movement stirred at the edge of his consciousness. Sophie. She was already awake. The moment she sensed his breathing change, panic seized her like a cold hand around her throat. Her heart slammed violently as she scrambled off the bed, bare feet touching the icy floor. Reality crashed down all at once. The unfamiliar room, the man on the bed. What had happened last night? Her face drained of all color. No, no, she whispered in horror. Her hands shook as she bent to gather her scattered clothes from the floor. The fabric felt like burning iron in her trembling grip. Behind her, Lucas shifted slightly, eyes still half-lidded, hovering between sleep and full awareness. Sophie didn't dare look back. She clutched her clothes tightly to her chest and bolted into the bathroom, locking the door with shaking fingers. The click of the lock echoed loudly in the silence. Inside the bathroom, the moment the door closed, Sophie collapsed against it. Her legs gave out, and she slid slowly to the floor, back pressed to the cold wood, arms wrapping around herself as if that alone could keep her from falling apart. Tears streamed down her face. "What have I done?" she whispered hoarsely. The mirror reflected a pale, devastated girl, hair tangled, eyes red and swollen, lips trembling. Marks from the night clung to her skin like silent accusations. She turned on the shower. Cold water cascaded down, but it did nothing to wash away the shame burning beneath her skin. As she dressed in hurried, clumsy movements, a sharp pain tore through her lower body. She gasped softly, knees weakening again. Her gaze dropped on the white towel beneath her feet. A faint smear of red. Her breath caught painfully. She froze, staring for a long, silent moment. Her first time, taken in confusion, in fear, in darkness, not by choice. A sob ripped from her chest. She bent down and wiped away the stain with trembling hands, as if erasing it could erase the night itself. But the truth remained, carved into her body. "You don't even know who he is," she whispered brokenly to her reflection. Shame, fear, regret, they crushed her all at once. And still, there was no one she could tell, no one who would believe her. She was alone, again. On the bed, a poison seed takes root. Outside the bathroom, Lucas lay back against the pillows, eyes now fully open. Fragments of the night returned in disjointed flashes. A trembling woman, tears clinging to her lashes, fingers clutching his sleeve. Her whispered plea, "Don't leave." His jaw tightened. A sharp, unwelcome irritation rose in his chest. Why had she been in his room? Why had she run to him? And why did everything feel wrong now, under the clarity of daylight? His phone vibrated suddenly. Once, twice, an unknown number. His eyes narrowed as he opened the message. "Mr. Knight, I hesitated to contact you, but I believe you deserve the truth. The woman in your room last night, Sophie Miller, is my half-sister. She has always used her innocent appearance to seduce powerful men. Climbing into your bed was not an accident. Please be careful." Another message followed. "She has ruined many people this way. Our family has suffered for years because of her behavior." The words sank into his mind like venom. Slowly, quietly, deadly. His grip tightened around the phone. So it was intentional, he murmured coldly. The fragile images of her tears and fear twisted under suspicion, reshaped into something ugly. A calculated act, a trap, a woman using her body as a ladder. He had been drugged. She had appeared at the perfect moment. Too perfect. The misunderstanding took root deep and irreversible. Sophie leaves. The bathroom door opened. Sophie stepped out, fully dressed, head lowered, posture rigid with fear and shame. She didn't dare look toward the bed. She only wanted to leave before questions, before judgment. One step. Two. Lucas turned his head sharply. "So you're leaving?" he said coldly. She froze and turned back slowly. Their eyes met. Her gaze held panic and quiet despair. His was distant, unreadable. I'm sorry," she whispered. The apology only deepened his irritation. "Sorry?" His lips curved faintly. "Is that all you have to say after what you did?" Her heart skipped painfully. "I didn't mean to." "Didn't mean to what?" he cut in. "Didn't mean to climb into my bed? Or didn't mean to use me so successfully?" Her face went deathly pale. "I was running away," she cried. "Someone tried to hurt me. I didn't even know whose room it was." To him, every word sounded like an excuse. "How convenient," he said coldly. "You ran straight to the most powerful man in the building." "I swear, I didn't even know your name," she whispered. His phone buzzed faintly in his hand. Bella's words echoed in his mind. "A woman who seduces men to climb higher. Save your performance," he said. "I've seen enough." "You don't believe me?" she whispered. "No," he replied flatly. "I don't." "The money." Lucas pulled out his checkbook, tore off a page, and wrote without hesitation. He placed it on the table by the door. "Take it," he said indifferently, "and disappear." Her eyes fell on the number. Too many zeros. "You think I did this for money?" she whispered. "Is there any other reason?" Her last thread snapped. "I would give my life to erase last night," she said softly. "How could I sell it?" "Then don't waste my time," he said. "Leave." She picked up the check. Its weight crushing. Humiliation. Judgment. A sentence passed without trial. "Thank you for helping me last night," she whispered. And she left. The stain he did not understand. Lucas's gaze drifted back to the bed. A faint reddish stain marred the pale sheets. "So she even staged this," he muttered. He turned away, unaware that what he dismissed was not a trick, but her first. A truth he would one day regret ignoring. Sophie did not know how she left the hotel. She only remembered the cold marble under her trembling feet, the weight of the check burning in her palm, and the way her vision blurred as she stepped into the elevator. The doors slid shut quietly, sealed, like the coffin of her dignity. Only when the elevator began moving downward did her legs finally give out. She slid down against the wall, clutching the check tightly against her chest as if it were a blade lodged inside her heart. Tears fell soundlessly. One by one, she bit her lip hard until the metallic taste of blood filled her mouth, forcing herself not to cry aloud. "Don't break down here. Don't let anyone see you like this." But how could she not break? Last night had stolen everything she had left, and this morning, the man she trusted, if only for one night, had crushed what little self-respect still remained. Outside the hotel, the revolving glass doors spun slowly as Sophie stumbled outside. Sunlight flooded her eyes brutally. The world moved on as if nothing had happened. Cars passed. People laughed. Life continued. Only she had been left behind in ruins. She stood there for a long moment, lost, until her phone suddenly vibrated in her bag. She flinched and answered mechanically. "Sophie," came her father's cold voice, sharp with suppressed anger. "Where are you right now?" Her heart tightened painfully. I'm outside," she whispered. "Outside where?" "A hotel." There was a brief silence on the line. Then his voice grew darker. "A hotel?" he repeated slowly. "What were you doing at a hotel all night?" Her fingers tightened around the phone. She wanted to tell him the truth. She wanted to scream that she had been drugged, that she had been trapped, that she had been hurt. But the memory of his indifference last night stabbed sharply into her chest. Every time she had needed him, he had chosen silence. Her voice trembled. "I went to attend a banquet last night." "A banquet?" He scoffed coldly. "Bella just told me you left with a man in front of everyone." Her breath stopped. "What?" You've humiliated the entire Miller family, Aless said harshly. Come home, immediately. The call ended without giving her the chance to explain. Her hand fell slowly to her side. Her heart sank into an abyss. So it's already started. Lucas's indifference. High above the city, in the executive suite, Lucas Knight stood by the window. The city lay beneath his feet like a sea of cold lights. His phone rang again. A message notification. He glanced at it carelessly. Another unknown number. Mr. Knight, thank you for trusting me. I just hope my sister won't hurt more innocent people again. Innocent people. The corner of Lucas's lips curved into a faint, mocking smile. So she's already spreading her net, he murmured. To him, Sophie had now become a familiar type. A woman who climbed into beds to climb into lives. He tossed his phone onto the table without another glance. She chose the wrong person, he said coldly. The check that burned. Sophie wandered through the streets without direction. The check remained clutched in her hand. Every time her fingers brushed the numbers written in sharp ink, her chest tightened. Finally, she stopped in front of a trash bin. Her hand lifted slowly. For a moment, she hesitated. That money could change her life. It could help her escape. It could become her shield. But then she remembered Lucas's eyes. Cold, contemptuous, certain that she had sold herself. Her fingers trembled violently. With a sudden motion, she tore the check into pieces. Once, twice, again and again. White fragments fluttered down like broken snowflakes. She watched them fall, and with them, whatever pride she had left. At the Miller residence, when Sophie arrived at the Miller family mansion, the atmosphere inside was oppressively heavy. The servants avoided her gaze. Whispers echoed faintly behind doors. She stepped into the living room. Her father sat on the sofa, his expression dark and rigid. Bella sat beside him, eyes red, looking as if she had cried for a long time. Elisa stood behind the sofa, her arms crossed, her lips curved with a barely concealed smile. Sophie stood in the center of the room, feeling like a criminal awaiting judgment. Father, she said softly. Aless lifted his gaze slowly. The disappointment in his eyes cut deeper than any slap. Where were you last night? He asked in a low voice. At a hotel, she answered honestly. But I didn't go there willingly. I was drugged. Sister, Bella suddenly interrupted, her voice trembling delicately. Why do you still lie? Sophie turned toward her. Bella, I saw it with my own eyes. Bella said softly. You left with the man. You were holding his arm. That's not true, Sophie cried. I was dizzy. I couldn't even see clearly. Bella's eyes filled with tears. Father, I don't want to believe it either, she said through sobs. But people took photos. Rumors are already spreading outside. Aless's face darkened instantly. Photos? He demanded. Bella nodded and pulled out her phone. On the screen, a blurry image. Sophie, half conscious, being supported into an elevator by an unknown man. The angle made it look intimate, intentional, damning. Sophie stared at the screen in horror. That was when I was already drugged. She cried. I couldn't even stand on my own. But you still followed him, Elisa said coldly. No one forced you to. Sophie turned toward her stepmother. Her lips trembled. You know I would never. Elisa smiled faintly. The world doesn't care what you would or wouldn't do, she said lightly. Only what you did. Aless stood up abruptly. Enough, he said coldly. From today on, you are no longer allowed to attend any family banquets or appear at any public event. Sophie's eyes widened. Father, you've brought shame to this family, he continued. Don't make it worse. Her heart broke completely. What Bella did not say. That night, in her bedroom, Bella locked the door and sat alone on her soft white bed. Her phone vibrated endlessly in her hand. Messages from socialites, from reporters, from friends, all asking the same thing. Is it true that your sister seduced a powerful man at the banquet? Bella typed calmly. I really don't want to believe it either. But the photos are real. She pressed send. One by one, each message a blade stabbing deeper into Sophie's reputation. Her lips curved upward slowly, satisfied. Sophie's silent collapse. In the small attic room she had always lived in, Sophie sat on the edge of the bed in silence. The house below was lively with laughter. Bella's laughter, Eliza's laughter, as if nothing had happened, as if she did not exist. Her phone vibrated again. Countless unknown numbers. She didn't answer a single one. She wrapped her arms around her knees and buried her face into them. Her shoulders shook violently, yet no sound escaped, because she had long learned, crying never changed anything. A storm approaches. Across the city, rumors flowed silently through every luxurious corner of high society. Did you hear? The Miller family's eldest daughter climbed into a rich man's bed. She was kicked out with money this morning. Looks innocent, but who knows what kind of woman she really is. The storm had not yet reached its peak, but it was already unstoppable. And at the center of it, Sophie Miller stood alone, unaware that soon, the man who humiliated her would also be dragged into the very scandal meant to destroy her.